I've spent about 15 years in Japan total. My wife has been with me for 12 of those years. We did serve as a mission president in Sendai from 1999 to 2002. We came back here to Japan about 6 months ago as a missionary couple handling public affairs for the area. We've been back to Sendai a couple of times during the period of time that we've been there, been here, and that's pretty much our background. Unless there are any questions.
Why don't we go ahead, Elder Grames, and just tell them what you told us this afternoon about your experience with the earthquake and the intensity of it, and what's happening with the roads and everything there right now.
Sure. Let me start with what we know about Sendai, and that is what we have directly from the mission president via email was that he was traveling in Koriyama, Koriyama, at the time that the earthquake struck. He attempted to go back to Sendai by car, but the roads and the bridges are out, and the traffic was such that he was not able to get back into Sendai. So he turned around and went back to Koriyama, where they have kind of an emergency center set up at a hotel. But he was able to communicate enough to know in Sendai that the mission home itself is in good shape and standing. There was some broken dishes and computer screens that had come off, fallen down. But otherwise, the mission home itself is in good shape. Communications throughout the Sendai mission are virtually impossible. Even the cell phone networks are down. The regular telephone lines are pretty much down. Electricity is out. The gas is out. The water is out. So the situation is really difficult in terms of all the utilities and transportation. So they're making every effort to try and track down the missionaries and the members of the church there. And what we have in terms of information to this point is what Scott Trotter repeated earlier, and that is we have been able to make contact with at least 2/3 of the missionaries. There are no reports of any injury to any of the missionaries or serious damage. So far, so good in terms of what we know up there. They're continuing to try and make contact with all the missionaries, and we'll try and keep you updated as that information comes in. President Stevenson is in direct contact with church headquarters on a constant, ongoing basis, and is reporting that direction, and he and I are in touch, and we're reporting back through public affairs here. When the earthquake took place yesterday at 2:46 in the afternoon here, Sister Grames and I were in the public affairs office, which is on the second floor of the church area office building here in Tokyo. The building itself here is a 7-story building. It's more than 30 years old. The church has had it for more than 30 years now. I'm not quite sure of the exact age of the building. But just to give you a feel for sort of the age and structure of buildings here that we're working with, it started out as a really violent shake, and I've lived here for 15 years. I've been through many earthquakes in Japan, but right when it started out, I said to Sister Grames, "This is a bad one." And so we sat in our chairs for a couple of minutes, it probably was maybe 30 seconds. And we finally decided that as this thing grew in intensity, it was growing in intensity, so we decided it made good sense for us to get under our desks. So we did get down under our desks, and as we were under the desk, the earthquake continued to grow in intensity. It was shaking mostly back and forth. There was a lot of a noise. The shelves were rattling, and the books on the desks were shaking. And this, of all the earthquakes I've ever felt, this lasted the longest time. It must have been a couple of minutes, at least, that we were down under the desks, and this was going on. So when it ended, we got up to walk through the office building to see what the status of the building was. We sustained no serious damage here in this building. We had a lot of pictures that had fallen off the frames and off the wall. We had some computer monitor which had fallen off the desk. We had broken glasses from in the kitchen that had come off and down off the shelves. We walked over to our apartment. We have an apartment which is directly behind the church office building. We walked over there. It's a lot less substantial building, but there was a lot of the drawers had been shaken open. There were a lot of things that had come down off the shelves. The missionaries that live upstairs from us, just sort of a kind of an amusing little story, is that they had a sugar container up on the top of the shelf, and it came down and spread sugar all over the floor, so they were busy trying to clean the sugar up off the floor. But there was no serious damage here in Tokyo. Of course, you have to understand that we here in Tokyo are, almost 200 miles from Sendai, and where the earthquake occurred. It would be about a 5 to 6 hour drive from here to Sendai. But there's just been no ability. All the trains have stopped running throughout the country. Well, throughout the northeast part of the country, I will say, nothing was running from Tokyo north. All of the subways and all of the trains were closed down here in Tokyo, as well as going north, of course. The subways here, it's now 9:40 in Tokyo. The subways are operating again, but the trains, the Japanese National JR Railway system, is not yet open and running from what we've been able to hear. So, as we went outside from the building yesterday following the earthquake, there were a lot of people who had gone outside. So there's sort of a division of opinion as to whether you're safer inside or outside in these earthquakes. Our understanding had been that you pretty much just stay inside and try and get down under a desk or a table in order to be protected from falling items. But there were we have helmets in our office. We have safety helmets we had one in our office. There were actually three of us in the office yesterday. One of the Japanese members of the church, who's also a missionary for public affairs, came into our office, and she got under the third desk. We had one safety helmet in our office, which it turns out we didn't need. But as we went outside and observed what was going on outside, there were a lot of people who had safety helmets on. I think that's standard practice here to keep those available in the offices.
Hey, Elder Grames, why don't we go ahead and open up for questions right now?
Elder Grames,
okay.
This is Dan with ABC4. A couple things I want to get. Where are you from? And you mentioned the members and the membership in the buildings. Do you know anything about the members who may have been injured or lost, or buildings that may have been damaged there? And where are you from exactly?
Yes, our home now is in Draper, Utah.
Give us your wife's name, too, while we're there.
It's Cindy. Cindy.
And then about the buildings and the members.
As far as we know, we have no reports of any death or injury among any of our members. We have 6 missions in Japan. We have 5 of the 6 missions reporting. Everyone is accounted for in 5 out of the 6 missions in terms of all the missionaries. And we have not been in touch with all of the stake presidents in the area, but we have asked them to communicate any information about loss or injury, and at this point we don't have any reports of any injuries among members. The tsunami itself was up and down the whole east coast of the country, so there was some concern outside the Sendai area, but that we haven't had any reports there. in terms of members. In terms of our buildings, we have a few buildings reporting cracks in them. We don't have reports on all the buildings, especially up in the Sendai mission yet. But at this point, there doesn't seem to be any serious damage. In terms of sort of a minor event, we have the statue of the angel Moroni on top of the Tokyo Temple here, which we can see out of our office building, which was added just a few years ago. Actually, we never put it on in the beginning, but it was added a few years ago, and it has turned and is facing another direction. So that gives you some feel for sort of the nature of this earthquake. Well, at this point, it doesn't seem possible to send relief into Sendai because the roads are closed and the bridges are out. The airport was flooded. You may have seen that on CNN, actually. So the transportation in and out of Sendai seems to be virtually impossible at this time. There may be possible to get in by helicopter, and I think that in looking at the news media here, the Japanese, of course, they send in the Japanese self-defense force, which is their military, sort of like our National Guard, but it's their national military. So that's being sent in. What we have done here is we've set up a ongoing sort of emergency team here in the church office building, and we will be manning the phones and the offices here for the next 48 hours until the office opens up again on Monday. We have Darwin Halverson is the director of welfare services here. He's been primarily coordinating a lot of this effort. At this point, we're focused on communications, trying to find out what the needs are, what the damages are, and then we can hopefully in the near future, turn to offering assistance where it's most needed.
What's the mood there? Nerve shattered a bit?
Everybody's pretty nervous. I went around and interviewed, and in fact, I took some video of people, and if we can, it's sort of old-style video on cassette tape, but it is high definition. If I can download it, I'll try and send it to Church Public Affairs. But I went around and interviewed a number of people yesterday, and every single person I interviewed had said they'd never felt anything this strong, even in Tokyo. So it was a historic event, I think, in everybody's minds.
This is Jerry Avant from the Church News. In Japan, could you just comment on member preparedness for emergency situations? We know what it is
on
here.
Member preparedness?
Yes, on emergency preparedness.
Right. Thanks, Jerry. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
We, all the members here are, they're very much instructed on the direction from the province to do food storage and preparedness. I'm not sure I personally can comment on to what degree the members have done that, but I will say that here in the church office building, we have an emergency food supply that is set up for situations like this. It's some kind of a rice product that you add water to it, and it's edible. And so I would say that as far as the church office building is concerned, they have done a good job in preparing for an emergency like this. The members of the church in Japan are very faithful. They're very faithful tithe payers. They're extremely obedient people. And I would think that our active members throughout Japan have made a very big effort to do food storage. As you're probably all aware, apartments are very small here. We often talk to people about going to Costco out here, and a lot of times they'll say, well, we don't have room to put the kind of volumes of food that the Costco sells. So, space is a problem, but I do know that members have talked about this, and I would think that they've made a big effort over the years to follow the prophets on this.